Hello, hello. uh, Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. This is not your first time. Thank you for coming back. So, guys, whew, how did you like that eclipse last night? That was intense. I liked it. I liked it. It was good. It was good. It was good stuff. Definitely good stuff. So I'm going to be doing a reading for us. Okay. This reading, I asked what it was going to be about. And what I heard is everything aligning beautifully, but painfully too. Like a lot of struggle. I feel so short in this. I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm just going to leave it alone. There's a lot of struggles. You know what? No, just tiny adjustment. There's a lot of struggles that are going on for a lot of people. And they're not necessarily bad struggles. They're just, struggles, just struggles. And it's just this thing where it's like, when you don't really want to go through the process that you're needing to go through, things are going to be a little bit harder than usual. Things are going to be, hold on, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take that out. Things are going to be much more intense of an experience, right? A much more intense experience. And that really, the intensity is contingent on how much you fight the process. I would say don't fight the process. That's what I would say. I would say definitely do not fight the process. Allow yourself to flow through that process to make sure you progress, all of that wonderfulness. So, eventually I'm going to find all of my cards. They're somewhere. And then I'm going to be able to change out what cards I use. I'm kind of done with the mermaids, and I need some other cards as well. I need some variety. I need options. And plus the mermaids are irritating me. The mermaids are super irritating me. All right. Well, okay, 4. We'll do 4 because 4. Whatever. Okay, we're ready. Are you guys ready? I'm ready. Let's do this. Ooh, that's a breakup. It's a breakup. I am kind of wondering if what this message is someone is going through a breakup. And, breakups are never fun, really. They're never fun. Breakups are never fun. Whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, it's never something that is enjoyable. There's always some type of sadness, grief, that type of thing, right? That breakup is causing a lack of movement of energy. Your creativity is diminished, or their creativity is diminished, and there's really just not much to do. There's not much to do. Well, that's the feel. Like whoever this is, there's nothing I can do. That's the feeling that I get. That type of logic. Nothing I can do. This is just how it is. I have no say. I have no power. And granted, you can't control someone else, right? You can't. And it's okay to acknowledge that you can't. But my thing is, do you have to be able to control someone else, or can you simply exist in a state of knowing, like, what I wanted didn't work out, and it's okay. I'm going to be led to something that's more in alignment with what I need, with what can actually make me happy, versus me just settling for half-ass love. I mean, how many of us settle for half-ass love, half-ass friendship? I realize up until not too long ago, just a few months ago. For some, I was settling for half-assed friendship, where there's this there's this painful awareness that I'm basically just being tolerated. It's kind of feeling like I'm inconvenient to be around. And it's not even like me being dramatic. It's just that was the sense that I was getting. And I kept telling myself, like, I shouldn't be that way. I shouldn't think that way. The issue is me. Like I'm making this up. And the reality is, was I making it up? No, I'm highly intuitive. And just like every other Piscean and every other empath, whenever your intuition goes towards you, using it for yourself and your goodness, your balance, your health, what do? We convince ourselves, oh, we're just making it up. Oh, we're just, we imagine this. We're just being sensitive. We're just being dramatic. And I mean, sometimes when things implode and it's an acute situation, like there's no real buildup to it. It's just like it finally, you just realize it's time to pop the boil. And then it just kind of is much worse than you realize because it actually wasn't just a pimple, it was a tunneling abscess. So it was a much larger infection than you realized. And that's why it hurt so much to be in that state, to be in that situation. And you lance it, and then suddenly so much is draining out. And you're like, oh my gosh, I knew it was bad. Oh my gosh. You know what I mean? So it's kind of this thing of if we were to just give ourselves permission to acknowledge how intuitive we actually are, I think we would avoid a lot of that infectious pain. I think we would avoid a lot of it. But we don't want to listen to ourselves because, again, it's that whole thought of, well, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be judgmental. I don't want to this. I don't want to that. And all these things that you don't want to be are the very things that will help to take care of you, that you can do to take care of yourself. And for anyone that wants to sit there and be like, Emmy, that's selfish. Who are you trying to impress? What are you trying to prove? What are you trying to show people by allowing yourself to be harmed? That you're a good person? That's not a good person. That's someone who is willing to hurt in exchange for being able to have the power to control your perception of them. Last I checked, that's emotional manipulation. Do what you need to stay healthy, to stay stable. Listen to your intuition. Allow yourself to really, really open your arms to receive what you need to receive. Open your eyes to be able to see, to truly see what needs to be seen. At some point, every single last one of us, we're going to need help. At some point, you're going to need someone to help you out. You might not want to let them help you, but you're going to need to. And I've been through situations like this where, and it's not really because I'm full of pride. To some degree, yeah, to some degree I do have pride. Not much of a degree. Yeah, not much of a degree. For me, it's more like I know I'll get through any situation in my life. It's often a struggle, yeah, but I always get through things. And if I allow you to help me, then someone who doesn't get through things, someone who's more fear based, because they haven't lived a life yet where they've allowed themselves to receive the help they need, they'll be without. And I think that's the thing. Whoever's offering to help you is not offering to help the other person, whatever, fictitious individual you believe won't receive help if you accept the help being offered to you. To you. So now is a time for us to begin allowing our life to realign, to enter into this place of alignment where the things that are unnecessary are either let go of or taken away by life. I know that's a scary thing to hear. That's a very, very scary thing to hear, that life will take things away that I'm not ready to give yet. Life knows what you're ready for. Soul knows what you are ready for. It knows more than you what you're ready for. There have been so many situations where I thought I wasn't ready for this. I thought I wasn't ready for that. And then it turns out I was more than ready. I was more than just ready. I was custom built to do what needed to be done. Okay? So when you lack that creativity, that fertility, the ability to create new circumstance, create new connections, new whatever, that just creative flow, it's okay. Give yourself a moment, because quite possibly what you think is stagnation is nothing more than you being held in place so that you could accrue enough energy to be able to burst through that glass ceiling. This is how we level up. Every single time, right before I level up in my understanding of myself and my life, I am held idle, and it frustrates me to no end, because I'm someone who constantly needs to do, needs to achieve, needs to this, needs to that. I cannot sit still. Why? Well, Amy, because you're busy. No. The busyness is a symptomatic presentation of what's actually going on. And what's actually going on? Oftentimes I don't realize I choose to be too busy to address my own life. That's a hard thing to say. Yet I was able to say it. That's a hard thing to admit that I'm avoiding my life, avoiding, processing, healing, working through the things that you need to work through, acknowledging the things that you went through because of someone else's malicious intentions. Those are very difficult things to process, especially when you're someone like me, because really, I don't think about hurting other people. I'm only ever thinking about, like, how could I help? That's all I ever think about. Like, oh, this person needs help. Okay, that person needs help. And then that person needs help. How can I help? How can I make it easier to help? So when someone thinks of ways to harm rather than to help, I know for people who are similar to me, and many of you are very similar to me, we're very, very similar. We can't help but wonder, like, what did I do? What did I do to make you not like me? What did I do to make you so angry with me? What is it me? Did I do something? And I don't know that you did. I don't know that you did something. And you won't know until you allow yourself to slow down enough to be able to process the life that you are too busy to process. Ain't that something? If you're too busy to process your life, who's going to process it for you? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to hurt more for someone outside of you to tell you that the issue is something you are doing, right? So be the one to tell yourself. Allow yourself to have this very difficult conversation, very, very difficult conversation. And I promise you, once you begin to converse with yourself, once you begin to have these very, very important, very, very necessary conversations within yourself, you will begin to understand the only thing you did wrong, quite possibly, was you loved someone who is incapable of receiving that type of love. Ain't that a doozy? Ain't that one hell of a doozy? That's what you did wrong. You love the wrong person. And when you come to that awareness, I mean, what else is there for you to do outside of accept the fact that you're a lover? That's what you do. You love. And next time, because there's going to be a next time, because lovers can't possibly ever stop themselves from loving other people. I've tried. That doesn't work. And what I've learned is I don't need to put effort into trying to make myself something I'm not. If you're a lover, you are a lover. Keep loving. So what's the solution? Just simply being more selective of who you shower with love. People who are able to appreciate. And no, don't shower people with love so that they can forever feel obligated to appreciate you. No, 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 no. I'm talking about a genuine gratitude, like, thank you. This was difficult and you helped me get through it. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I'm just leaving it at that, versus the people who you will help. And then they will feel like, well, why aren't you helping me now? You helped me last week. But I just helped you last week. Yeah, but I need help again now. So why aren't you helping me again? Right? I mean, we know people like that, where instead of having gratitude and just leaving it at that, like, oh, thank you for helping, they get very, very accustomed to that sense of entitlement. Like I had someone who I was helping years ago, and I was regularly, I don't know why, I was regularly sending them funds. They don't work for me, but I was just giving them funds because I felt badly. I was just like, oh, they need this, they need that, blah, 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 giving them gifts and all of this stuff. And then they asked me for a large sum of money, and I was like, I don't have that. They're like, yeah, you do. You have a lot of money. According to who? According to who? And they got so accustomed to me assisting that the one time I literally couldn't, I'm not giving you $1,000. Are you kidding me? For what? For what? You're crazy. You're literally crazy. You think I'm going to give you $1,000 just because you asked? No. F out of here with that. Because what? Because I'm your friend? Friends don't do that to friends. They don't treat each other like ATMs. See, and these are things I had to learn. I had to go through these life circumstances in order to learn these things in the most potent way. Instead of having gratitude for all the ways in which I've already helped, it was this sense of, I need more. Why aren't you giving me more? Like, I know you have more to give me. Why are you giving it to that person when you can give it to me? I thought we were friends. No, that's no longer love. That's not me loving you. That is you taking advantage of knowing the person I am is a giver and a lover. Ooh. Ooh. Yogi, oh my gosh. She says, I love the wrong person more than anything in the world for 27 years. Actually, who am I kidding? Unfortunately, I still love him unconditionally deep down. But now I realize I have to love him from afar. And do you know why you have to love him from afar? So that you can step forward and love yourself first. Woo! Man, oh man. It's like that Selena Gomez song. You need to lose him to love you. You need to lose him in order to be able to find yourself. And that's ooh, wow. And really though, did you lose him? Or was the weight of his physical presence simply all that was removed? Because if you still love him unconditionally deep down, He still lives with you. So really, was there anything lost? No, just the drama. The drama that occurs when misalignment is forced to continue to have some proximity to your day-to-day life. That's what was lost. Thank you for sharing that. There is nothing wrong with continuing to love someone that, you know, your relationship, friendship, romantic has broken down. You can still have love for them. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to hate someone just to move on. I mean, sometimes naturally you will, as part of your process of moving on. And as you heal, that sense of hatred towards the person abates. It gets easier and easier. And before you know it, you don't have hatred anymore. You kind of can just look back and be like, yeah, that was some stuff, you know? Autumn in reverse. So this is still something that originates from a period, from a circumstance that began during the autumn period. Okay, last autumn. It's something that's been continuing. Eventually, you will be finished with this, but first it has to be really, truly processed. Protection in reverse. You don't need to be protected from your own life. You don't. You don't need to be protected from your own life. You just have to live your life. You know? You have to allow. Just allow. Intensification in reverse. So your life is going to give you a break. And what is that break? How will it show up as? Well, the silence, the solitude, the stillness. That's your break from the chaos. See, we break up with people and we're being given a break. And we feel like we're being punished because we need to distract it, to continue to have other people to take care of, so that way we don't have to take care of ourselves. I'm not sure. I know I do that sometimes. Sometimes when a connection ends, I feel like I have to go above and beyond, out of my way, to develop other projects, find other people to lavish all this love and attention on. And it's like, I want to keep myself busy because I don't want to deal with it. It's okay for you to come to these realizations where you understand, I'm not behaving in a way that's honoring me and my needs. It's okay. I'm not intentionally trying to hurt myself. This is just how I cope. And it's time for me to recognize the way I cope hurts me more, right? Let me just look at this. Okay. So clearance, dedication in reverse, containment in reverse. So we're right now in spring, right? This is about the right now. We have to clear away this upside down dedication to the very things that we don't need to be dedicated to. We have to let it all just kind of spill out. We have to let it all spill out. Just pour it all out. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Da 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 da. Okay. Ooh, energy field adjustment. Yikes. Okay. Makes sense. Energy field adjustment. You have to adjust where you occupy within your field. Right? You have to adjust it. You have to shift it. And when you allow yourself to shift, you allow yourself to open up space for you to move elsewhere within your life. It's that movement that's necessary. And when you don't allow movement, you don't allow life. So we have to allow. Next card, experiments, manipulation of nature, forcing change. Ooh. Cruelty in the pursuit of knowledge, arrogance. So are you making your life an experiment where you're trying to see exactly how much pain you can deal with, how much hurt you can tolerate, how much this, how much that, how much of the negativity? Stop. Stop. There's nothing you can learn through cruelty to self that you can't learn in a more compassionate, less painful way. There is nothing that you can learn by being cruel to yourself that you cannot learn in a more compassionate way. Let's take a look at the way you talk to yourself. You make a mistake. What do you say? You say like, oh my gosh, I made a little mistake. I made a boo-boo. Okay, this is the right way to do it. Or are you like, oh my God, I'm such a freaking idiot. Oh my God, I'm such a loser. Right? You call yourself the B word. It's not nice. I used to talk to myself in that way. I used to be a reflection of the way other people in my environment used to talk to me. And so I would talk to myself in that way. It felt appropriate. This is when I was way younger. It felt appropriate, right? Because that's all I knew. And as I've grown in my personal power and my perception of myself, I don't talk to myself like that anymore. I don't need to. Why attack myself for being in the process of learning? So what do? Sometimes I will say the B word to myself, like, bitch, stop. Oh my God, why are you doing that? That's how I talk to myself now. Like, no, boo boo, don't do that. Don't do it. Girl, I'm not going to do it. Don't do it, girl. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. There's no need for me to be mean to myself when there are billions and billions upon billions of people in this world who are more than willing to do it for me. No, no. I'm very, very blessed to have more than just myself in my life, right? I'm very, very blessed to have really amazing quality people to really be able to say, like, I have, single digit number of people in my life who I know they will always be my friend. They will always be a part of my life. Whatever we need to work through, we're going to work through it. We're going to talk through it. These are people who my heart loves. And I will always love them. I'm very lucky. Very, very lucky. But see, here's the thing. Even if you don't have that right now, you're still very lucky. You know why? Because the thing you're going through right now is what gets you to that point where you will have those people. Do you know how much I've lived through to get to the point where I am right now? And where am I? What am I talking about? I'm now at a point where I know I am surrounded every day at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am surrounded by people who actually love me, who accept me as I am, even when I'm having a tirade, even when I'm speaking gently and softly and being profound in some way, or when I'm just being ratchet as fuck, just being ratchet, telling someone off in the comments, letting a mofo know. And you're just like, that's him. That's Emmy. That's what she do. That's just they. You know what? They should have known. Now they know. That's Emmy. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing to exist in a space where I see my own heart looking back at me no matter where I turn. But there was a lot to go through to get to this point. A lot needed to be let go of. A lot needed to be felt and experienced. The cost of your new life is the price of your old one. You'll have to give up your old life in exchange for your new one. You'll have to give up all of those old cycles, all of those old coping mechanisms, old patterns. Your life hurting you right now? You got to give up what hurts. See, pain can teach us something, right? Pain is the greatest teacher you will ever have. That's my personal belief. Pain is the greatest teacher you will ever have. The more it hurts, the deeper the lesson. And here's the thing, I found myself repeating over and over and over the same mother freaking lesson. Loving on someone that doesn't deserve that type of devotion. And it is okay for you to make that determination because, baby boo, not everyone deserves the type and depth of love you give so freely. Not everyone deserves that. Yes, you still try and give it to everyone, but not everyone deserves. You know, I remember there was this thing that I had purchased, and it was a bit pricey, right? I purchased it. It was pricey. I loved it. And then I realized someone needed something like that. And so I gave it to them. Well, they don't know. They don't know how much I paid for it. It was free. So they treated it like it was free. And I didn't say a word. I didn't say a word because I had told myself, well, you gave it to them and they can use it however way they choose. It's theirs now. Little did they know they were thrashing something that was actually quite expensive. When you continue to give things to people who don't understand the value of what they're receiving, I mean, you know, it's kind of like, I remember another time I had gotten my mom, I think it was like a purse. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a one of those like shoulder bags, a smaller one. I can't remember now. I don't know. It was designer. I got it for her. And she kind of just like threw it around, right? Like she wasn't tripping. She thought it was just some cheapy thing that I had gotten. She thought it was like some knockoff. And then I remember we were at my aunt's house who was like really into designer things. And she goes, oh, wow. She got that for you. And I was like, yeah, it's just, yeah. And my auntie was like, do you know how much that is? And for me at that time, it was expensive. It was expensive. I mean, you know, the concept of expensive is really contingent on the person's perception of what's expensive. Someone who can afford a $500 dinner doesn't think that a $20 burrito is expensive, right? For me at that time, that shit was expensive. And then my mom, she didn't realize that. And then she later comes to me, she's like, why are you using your money like this? You know? Some people don't realize. And when you replace purse with heart, you give your heart to someone, and your heart is priceless. Oh, it's priceless. You give your heart to someone, they don't understand the value of what you've given, and so they treat it like caca. It's like no biggie. It'll always be there. I think part of the reason why my husband and I have the relationship that we have, the marriage that we have, is because it's very clear at any point one of us cannot be here. That's potentiality. Low potentiality, low, but we're not obligated. So we need to always go out of our way to really show our appreciation and our love, right? It's not taken for granted. It's not taken for granted. And the times, because my husband caters to me so much, I'm so effing spoiled, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I remember one time I was like, I need to eat healthier. My body feels really sick. And he just eats so differently than I do. And so it's just this thing of like, I told him one day, it's like months ago, I told him one day, or last summer, I told him one day, I don't cook for me anymore. Don't cook for me anymore because I need to get back on my old eating, and I feel so sick at this point. I feel really, really sick because I was eating all of these things I shouldn't eat and it made me feel so sick. And he goes, fine. And for like how many days he was cooking for everyone except for me because I told him not to. And then finally, like a few days into it, I was like, can you make me something? I was so like butthurt. Like, I don't feel like you love me because you haven't cooked for me. And he's like, you told me not to. I don't feel good. Can you cook me something? And he is like, okay, fine. But you told me not to cook for you anymore. And then I realized, like, no, I want him to cook for me. I love when he cooks for me. Like, we can make the same dish and it doesn't taste the same, not because, we're different cooks, but because our love tastes differently than each other's. Did you know when you make something out of love, you can taste it? When you make food with love in your heart, you can taste it. I remember when I used to be the head cook of the family, my husband's working full time. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I'm the head chef. And I, was in my Betty Crocker phase. I was a little Martha Stewart, thuggish, but also domestic. I would cook and the kids would always love my cooking. And then they would tell me like, oh, I know what your secret ingredient is. And no one taught them this. This is just that, like, they were so serious. They're like, your secret ingredient is love. And I was like, you could taste that? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yes, I can taste it. And that's the thing. When you do things with love, people feel it. But here's the other thing. When people have never experienced healthy love, they don't know what they're getting from you. It's good, but we don't really know how good, right? We don't know how good. Like, I remember for the last in-person retreat that I had, it was like supposed to be, luxury. It's to help people, my guests, experience how life can be when you establish a soul-based business and everything aligns and you're like bringing in your abundance. And so we got this nice Airbnb, and then I flew in a chef. And the thing was, like, I've had good food before. I've had good food before. But there's something to say about a live-in chef at that level. Because let me tell you, candied bacon, what? Chimichurri freshly made with steak cubes, what? Yeah, no. And he was making all of this fresh. And there was this thing where it was like, what kind of life is this? What kind of freaking life is this? because I have such a unique diet. Like, I can't eat most of the things that other people can eat. And he would make all of these amazing, amazing food for everyone, all the guests. And then I would have this very special plate made just for me. Like, oh my God. See, when you don't eat at fancy restaurants, because I don't really like to do that. It feels so pretentious for me personally. It's not a bad thing if you eat at fancy restaurants. I don't know. I prefer my husband's cooking. I prefer to stay home or just something simple. It's still good food, but I didn't realize the difference. The difference in someone who's made their passion into their career, like mofo can cook, like chef cook. He is a chef though. The person that I flew in, he's an actual chef. I think for like, I can't remember now. He was like a chef for one of the huge hotels in Palm Springs. He's like he's telling me, I forget. He's in charge of the like large fancy events, like $1,000 plates and things. Like he heads that team or something like that. Flew him in, and it was an amazing, amazing experience. Amazing, amazing experience. Oh my God, it was so amazing, so amazing. And that's the thing, we don't really understand the gravity until we have something else to juxtapose it with. So sometimes, fall into something, whether it's a project or it's someone that you love, you give your all, and it crashes and burns. And why? You ask yourself, why? But I loved you. Why wasn't I enough? Why wasn't my love enough? And it was this thing of, you needed to understand. Excuse me. Understand what? The polar opposite of the kind of love you'll be receiving soon. So I've never had anyone break up with me except for my boyfriend right before I met my husband. And there was something just so eviscerating. And I haven't had many boyfriends. I'm just really selective of people. I am. There was just something so eviscerating about this sense of I wasn't valued enough to hold on to, right? Well, that's what I thought when I was I was 18, 19. I was real young. And then my husband comes along and it's like, I know this man will never just willingly let go. That's one of the things, like, I never have to question that. I never have to question that. I never have to question where his loyalty is. Like, I know he will never just willingly let go. Right? So then comes this realization over 20 years later, like, oh, well, I was being prepared. I was being primed by pain to be able to really, really understand. Once I reach that level of maturity, I'll understand the gravity of my husband's presence in my life. And no, it didn't happen right away. My understanding did not happen right away. But for some reason, I continue to stay. Right? We have a real relationship. It's not no fairy tale bullshit of everything's been perfect from day one. No, we've gone through a lot together. We've grown a lot together. And you realize everything that you go through with your friends or your lover, these are things that provide you the opportunity to deepen, to ripen that bond. That's why I say, like, if I ever find myself at a point in life where my husband is no longer with me, whether he's moved on or whatever, like, I really don't want to be in another relationship. Like, I don't want to invest so much of my time and my life in another person. I just want to be free to exist and just enjoy watching my children build their own families, and live my life and work and just have plants, have a whole bunch of animals, and I don't know, maybe a farm. I don't know. I don't really fantasize about the day when my husband's not with me. You know what I mean? But I just know, I already know, even right now, I don't want to invest in another person the way I've invested in him. I just don't want to. That's a lot of effort. That was a lot of effort we both put into building what we've built together. It's a lot of effort. So much effort that, at one point, like, we couldn't stand to be around each other. It was primarily me because I have an attitude problem. I couldn't stand to be around him because of my attitude. He's kind of just chill. And then now it's like this thing of, we went to the bank about some business stuff, and then the cashier person, or I think she's a manager, she's asking us, like, how do we make our schedules work? Because if we're both working, and like we work together. And she was shocked. She's like, how do you do that? What do you mean? And she's saying, like, a lot of the people she knows and a lot of the, I guess, clientele, they can't do that. They need separate bank accounts from their spouse. They need to work separately because they cannot be together all day. And then they need at least one day out of the week where it's just them. They don't got to deal with their spouse, even for the few hours right before bed. Right. And I'm kind of like, I like my man. I like him. I don't need a break from him. And my logic is, why be married if this is someone you need a break from? Why be friends if you consistently need a break from that individual? The only people I allow in my life at this point, like my personal life, are people I don't need a break from. People I don't need to explain things to. I get quiet for long stretches, and people who have tremendous insecurities and, like abandonment issues, rejection issues. I guess I put them through the ringer because um, yeah, I just go quiet out of nowhere. There's no drama. I go silent. I go deep within myself. I remember when um, I saw my BFF, because I met her online, and I've known her for quite some time. And like, I finally met her in person for the first time, and it was like about a week that we kind of got an Airbnb. My whole family came, and we got an Airbnb, and like, I barely talked. And I distinctly remember it was like maybe 2 days before it was time to go, and my husband's like, "What are you doing hiding in the room? Like, you haven't even talked to your friends." He's like, "You don't even talk when they're in the room. Like, they flew all the way over here to see you." And I was like, "What? That's how I am." And they know this. And then literally, they know this. That's just how I am. I'm like awkward in person. I don't really talk, and it's not that I felt uncomfortable. It's just that's how I am. Right? And I just quietly disappear. And it's okay. I don't need to explain those things. Because the people who love me really see that. And they're like, "Oh, no, nothing's wrong. That's what she does. She goes quiet. And she pops back up like nothing happened." Because literally, that's what I do. It's not something intentional. It's not to test you or your friendship. That's just what I do. That's how I am. I get so caught up in my own thoughts. And I don't need to attack myself. You don't need to attack yourself for being who you are. You need to allow all your pieces to come together in the way they're meant to come together. Time and tide. Now, I have a different feeling for this card. It says at the bottom, oceanic spells and rituals. I don't feel that. You need to give yourself the time to exist like the tide, this ebb and flow of your energy and your growth, this rushing towards the shore, the certainty, and then the pulling away and going back into the depths of the unknown. Tide and time, giving yourself the type of love you give other people. Because I'm pretty sure, I am pretty effing sure that when someone needs space, you're the first one to be like, hey guys, no, stop. They need space right now. Leave them alone for a little bit. So why can't you do that for yourself? I tell you this, you can do that for yourself. You just choose not to. No, but I mean, I really don't know how. Lies. I'm calling you out. That's a lie. How can you say I'm lying? You don't know. Yes, I do know. I do know, because if you can do that for other people, mofo, you can do that for yourself. I ain't dumb. You can do that for yourself. If you can do that for someone else, if you can love someone else in that same way and be there for them, you sure as hell can do that for yourself as well. You just choose not to. And why you choose not to is what you need to uncover. Is it programs? Were you taught from a very young age that you are too much, you ask for too much, you want too much, it's such a hassle dealing with you, that you exist to make someone else's life easier? Ooh. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. It's this thing of like, I suddenly remembered, this very, very interesting thing that happened, right? Uh, yeah. We were still living in the RV, and no, we weren't living in the RV. We were in a house already. Anywho, my son, whose feet are much smaller than mine, he had a pair of shoes that looked similar to mine. Not exact, but similar color. And I was in a rush, and his shoes happened to be near my shoes. And then we go to the store. I put my shoes on. We go to the store, and I'm like, why does my foot feel weird? My left foot is like cramping. What the heck? My toes are all smashed in. I go through the whole store like this, okay? I go through the whole entire store like this. We're there for like an hour. And then finally, as we're leaving, I'm like, I can't take this. What is wrong with me? And I look down, and I'm standing straight with my feet side by side. I'm like, oh shit, I'm wearing two different shoes. I was wearing two different shoes. And when you look at them, you can clearly tell they're different shoes and they're different sizes. Why am I sharing this? I could feel the difference. And I kept telling myself I was tripping. I didn't even bother to look. What I kept doing is like, so these are my toes and this is my heel. I would stop every few minutes and go like this to try and adjust my foot back down to create space for my toes. The whole store. I was going through the whole store like this. When was the last time you were in pain and you wouldn't even stop to check why you were hurting? Instead, you would just make the adjustments to make sure you didn't hurt as much. so that you could tolerate the pain a little bit better. Yeah. And then finally, when I stopped, as we were halfway to the car in the parking lot, and I looked down, I said, "Oh my God." My husband turns around, he looks at me, he's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Look at the shoes." He goes, "You've been walking around with two different shoes this whole time?" I was like, "Oh my God." He goes, "You didn't know? You couldn't tell that one was smaller?" I don't need your hatred right now. I was so pissed off. I was so pissed off. Like, how the hell would I tell? He goes, "They're different sizes." And it wasn't just by one size. It was like maybe 2 or 3 sizes smaller than my foot. He's like, "You couldn't tell? You couldn't feel that?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know, okay?" I don't know. We're heading home already. Get off my ass. Because he was just like, "How the fuck do you leave the house with a shoe that is like 2 to 3 sizes smaller?" So just to illustrate how small the shoe was, this is my shoe. This is my toe shoe. And my toes were like this. He's like, "Do you just not pay attention? I was rushing so you wouldn't have to wait for me to get in the car." And he wasn't rushing me. See, you see how this story just so beautifully illustrates the bullshit that we do to ourselves. He wasn't even rushing me. I rushed myself because I didn't want him to wait the 2 seconds in the car. I rushed myself. I'm just saying, transparency, honest, authentic, genuine, and present. Be transparent with yourself. Be present with yourself. Okay? Be present with yourself. Allow yourself to really truly see, quite possibly for the first time, the person you've become, the person who you are at this point. There's nothing to be ashamed of about yourself in your life. I don't care what you're going through. There's no reason to be ashamed. See, we think like, "No, I mean, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what I'm dealing with. I'm so ashamed. I have this and this and that. It has to do with money. It has to do with self-worth. It has to do with, what I've allowed someone else to do to me and blah, 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 blah." And it's like, you really think you're the only one that's experienced things like that? You think you're the only one who has experienced things like that. I'm sorry, but you're not. You can find millions of people just in your area who have experienced the same thing, maybe years ago, maybe recently. Maybe they'll experience it in a few months. We're really not that unique. We like to think that we are, you know? We like to think that we are, but we're not. We're not. We go through so much. We go through so much, very, very similar to each other, but we just keep so quiet because society tells us we should be ashamed. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I don't even care if you used to work as a sex worker. Is that in your past? Just in your past. Who cares? Oh, it's still in your present? Well, are you happy with your job? No? Maybe it's time for a new job. You're happy with your job? Yes? Awesome. What's that got to do with me? Why do you have to be ashamed? And see, that's another thing. This is one of the rules I live by. I use this for my life all the time. If I'm going to be ashamed that someone finds out, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. If I'm going to have to be scared that someone's going to know that I did this, no, I'm not going to do it. I won't. I don't want to live my life in that way where like I have to worry about, people throwing rocks at glass, like glass houses. No, no. You can look at whatever you want in my life. I'll be like, you, I did that. It was dumb, right? I know. I was dumb then. It's fine. I know. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Pretty sure I'm not doing that again, but I don't know what I was thinking. No biggie. I was only what age? No worries. Get to a point where you're not ashamed of your history anymore. You don't necessarily have to tell everyone what's happened to you and what you've lived through if you don't want to. You don't have to. But to be ashamed of the things that have made you into the person that you are, with the awareness that you are. You know why you feel ashamed? Because you're so hyper aware of other people's expectations of you. People who can't even uphold those expectations themselves. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about, I was watching these animal rescue videos on Facebook when I woke up this morning. And it's like they're rescuing the mommy dog and the puppies. And I'm like, they're wild fucking animals at that point. They're feral. They're being the wild animals that they once were. Like, as long as the mother has enough food, as long as she can continue to get enough food, she will continue to nurse her babies, which will then learn how to survive in that environment. You know what I mean? And they're putting so much effort into the rescuing of the mommy and puppies that she purposely hid away to keep away from humans. So clearly she still has her instincts intact. She's taking good care of the babies, but we're rescuing that. And then I came across one video that was like basically shaming people if they don't also go out of their way to rescue animals. Now, I love animals. If I see an animal that needs help, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to help. But I got to thinking, that's funny. Where are your videos on rescuing people? Where are those videos? Because, I mean, that's what I focus on. I focus on helping other people. So, I mean, who the hell are you to judge me for not making it my life mission to save animals? Because I'm busy with a different type of life mission where I'm assisting human beings as they get back on their feet. Where's the compassion for your fellow human who won't be fine if they're left on the street? See, the dogs, they will find a way. Eventually, they will form packs and they will learn how to hunt or steal food from humans, you know? They'll learn. Their instinct will eventually kick back in. What about humans? Humans don't have fur. They don't have fangs. And yet you'll have people who will shame you for not being them. So then what are you doing? Are you rescuing animals because your heart calls you to do it? Or is this a way to get a leg up on other people so you can seem more woke? You can seem that much more evolved and compassionate? No. I see no compassion in someone who can have compassion for a different species but none for their own. I don't see compassion there at all. I don't. I see something contrived. It's like you can make all these videos to document all the stuff you're doing. I mean, are you doing it for the clout? Or, I mean, I don't know why you're doing it. Because if you were to ask me, well, where's your videos of the people you've helped? I don't take videos of people like that. I give them the privacy. I give them their dignity. I treat them with the respect they deserve. I don't use their story to try and like promote myself. Now, if you say something in live streams, yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Am I going to volunteer your story? No. Chances are no. 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 I don't know if you'll be ashamed of other people knowing that you went through a hardship, just things like that. It's like things have to perfectly align for you in your life. But when you continue to participate in these programs that are really situated, they are designed to cause us to compete and compare with other people so that we all simultaneously feel less than. Don't do it. Lose the shame that they tell you you have to have about your life. Lose the fear of other people knowing. There is literally no detail of my life that I would deny. None. In the rare instances that I've been breached by parasites, and yeah, fuck yeah, I can be breached. It's hard as fuck, but I can be breached. Absolutely, I'm a human being. Are you kidding me? I can be breached. And what do? Do I hide it away? Do I like pretend like nothing happened because I don't want you guys to think that I'm not powerful? No, I'm not a weak bitch like that. Weak bitches do that. I don't care who's offended to hear me say that. That's some weak ass shit. That's weak. I will sit here and I will publicly declare, yo, my ass got breached. I'm gonna have to clear everybody. Let me make sure no one got affected by the shit that I let in. And those of you who've known me for a long time from Facebook, you've seen me do that maybe two times, 3 times. Because I'm always going to be honest. I'm not going to be opaque in my existence. Like I have to hide this, I have to hide that. Stop. Allow your life to align. Yes, pain is involved because you've become so stiff, trying to live like a statue, trying to pose yourself the way society tells you you should be viewed. No, no. I am not a stagnant energy. I am a dynamic energy, always evolving. I remember one time my friend from high school, his wife, I don't know, she thought it was funny. I didn't. It's when I first started my page, Emmy Evolving. She was like privately messaging me and stuff and yada yada. And then she goes, what's Emmy Evolving? I'm like, oh, that's my company. I just started it, right? And she goes, who's Emmy? Me? She goes, evolving? What are you evolving into? Probably something you'll never understand. And I won't hold it against you. Just like I won't allow you to shame me for being something you don't understand. Don't let them shame you for being who you are. Allow your life to align in the way it's meant to align. Allow your life to be the beautiful expression of creation that it is. Allow yourself to create your opportunities, to create your connections, to create your space for healing, to create whatever needs to be created for you to find your way back home again. Go back home. Go back home to yourself. Allow the peace to return. And turn off the microphone for anyone that disturbs that peace. You don't have to listen to them. You don't. You don't have to listen to them. What makes them more of an authority than you? Even the specialist. So my son, he has celiac disease. He had full-blown celiacs, right? And I remember he was like 2 years old, and I took him to the pediatrician because I wanted to confirm what I had suspected, which is celiac disease. He had all the symptoms, and he had swollen lymph nodes. It looked like he had those large type grapes under his skin. He had them in his groins, the back of his head, armpits, like everywhere. He had those. And I took him to the doctor, and I was like, I believe he has celiac disease, and I was hoping you would order a full liver panel. She takes his diaper off and she looks at his groins and she's like, no, mama, that's cancer. What? She goes to diagnose him with leukemia. How dare you? How irresponsible of you to diagnose anything without any type of medical diagnostics done. Swollen lymph nodes can be caused by so many different things. And the only reason she ordered that full liver panel was to force me so that I would agree to take my child to the Children's Hospital oncology. Never mind the fact he has no lethargy, he doesn't get exhausted quickly. He has no unexplained bruising. He doesn't even bruise. It's rare for him to bruise. No bruises on him. Hello, leukemia. You look like a freaking mashed up banana. Okay? You will have all these unexplained bruises. Nope. She saw swollen lymph nodes and immediately she tries to diagnose with leukemia. And I'm kind of like, the fact that I'm asking you for a full liver panel and I'm already giving you my hypothesis of what's going on with my son's health, shouldn't that tell you that I'm medically inclined? And that you should actually listen to me, because I literally spend every single minute of the day with this child. I am a stay-at-home mom. We don't do babysitters. We don't do night out. We don't do any of that. I exist for him. She didn't want to hear it. I know my kid. I know my kid. So in order to get the liver panel, I took him to the oncologist, who scoffed. And I was like, I know. Oncologist was like, these aren't even huge lymph nodes. I mean, they're swollen, but they're not huge. They're not the kind of lymph nodes you'd have with a diagnosis she's giving you. I'm like, I know. I explained to that oncologist my hypothesis. It's like, ooh, sound like you read up and know what you're talking about. Yeah. Went and checked his records. The liver panel had come through. It was through the roof. Through the roof. Abnormal liver panel. Oncologist tells me, looks like you diagnosed. That's one of the tells of celiac disease. Usually, by the time you go to try and get a diagnosis, your liver filters, your lymph nodes filter. You have so much clogged up. And that's what causes the lymph nodes to swell. And these are all textbook signs of celiac disease. Textbook. We ended up switching to a different doctor. I don't care if I don't have that degree. If you're not willing to listen to me because you are not the authority here, just because you have more education than me does not mean you know my child or me better than myself. Right? You go to someone for services and they don't want to hear what you have to say. This is your life. This is your body. This is your experience. You are the authority of you. You are not going to them because they are the authority. You are going to them because they went to school to learn more and can guide you in your self-discovery. That's all. So in order for your life to align in the way it needs to align, you need to allow yourself. You need to allow yourself to step back into that place of authority. You are the only authority in your life. And you will come across people who have more knowledge in specific areas of study, and they can assist you in guiding yourself to your answers. But they should never tell you. They should never tell you. They should never dictate to you. Don't let people do that. Don't let them take your sovereignty. Don't let them force you to be bent into situations that will forever prevent you from aligning between self and soul. So this process is beautiful, but it's painful too. You've got this. You can do it. This is the period where we show ourselves exactly what we can do. I believe in you. I believe in you. And for anyone who's like, how can you say you believe in me when you don't even know me? Well, that's why I believe in you. I haven't gotten the chance to get to know you and know all of the bullshit you tell yourself to prevent yourself from realizing what I see clearly, that you're capable. See, there's a difference between lack of capability and lack of belief in self. Because you don't believe you can do it, doesn't mean you actually can't. Those are two different things. Lack of capability and lack of belief in self, different things. Don't confuse them. Do not confuse them. Okay? All right, guys. So I got to get going. I hope today's church, I hope church was everything you needed to hear to empower yourself. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Excuse me, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're doing that Soul Sanctuary podcast. I hope you guys join me, and I hope you continue to choose to join me. It's always your choice to come in and sit with me or to not. I hope you choose to. So guys, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Bye, everyone.